Can I start with a question?
As you often do, of course.
Okay, so we've all seen this episode. We know how it ends as far as the parentage of the child that Dee is carrying.
Yes.
Ignore that. Which father would you most like to see Dee have a baby with?
Okay. Quick question. Is Dee my friend? Do I live in the Always Sunny universe? Or
no.
am I watching the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like chaos could be a good thing.
Okay, so if I ended up somehow being an executive producer, Lil Kev is great, but there's no depth.
There's also something else to consider as far as the mental capacity.
I thought we determined that he has no limited mental capacity.
I felt like it was still up in the air.
I mean, I guess it still is up in the air because the evidence that we saw throughout the show was pretty significant.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm not concerned. I like him on screen. So as a viewer, I would like that. Love the Korean busboy. His face is amazing. But again, those two are very surface level, no depth.
We really know nothing about the bus man other than he faked a beer recipe.
Yes, and that.
So he's got some tricks. He can do tricks. He's
right, but there's no. I don't think there's depth there. I mean, I guess you could always just build it. Anyway, Ponderosa, love Pondy. I think that would be pretty chaotic. But
sure.
And of course, Cricket. I mean, he's an angel. I would say Ben the Soldier, in my opinion, would be the best because their dynamic of abuse is so good, and it gets a little serious when he breaks down in his interview portion, and maybe that would tug at my heartstrings a little too much because I identify with the nice characters in shows, and
of course.
Like, is he the only character?
Ben might be like the either the only or definitely the most.
I think Ben and Carmen are.
Carmen, yeah, that's a good example.
I guess Nick as well, but
Nick, yeah.
But Ben and Carmen are like the two main characters that are just honest, direct, nice, genuine people on this show.
He does have that like Ebenezer Scrooge style sleeping outfit that does raise a little concern.
What concern? As a viewer, that is nothing but gold.
That's a good point.
Just imagine if we got to see Dee seducing him by berating him, and he was wearing his nightgown.
Calls me names like Army Jerk, Camo Turkey. I know she's just drunk, so it's okay.
Come on, do a beautiful show. It's gonna be awesome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of It's Always Stockholm in Los Angeles. My name is Nate Harold. I'm here with Will Noon.
Yes, it's true.
Today we are talking about Season 6, Episode 12 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Dee Gives Birth. Written by David Hornsby, Audrey Sylaf, and Becky Mann. Directed by... I don't know how many more episodes there's going to be of me being able to do that, but...
Shockma.
It's exciting every time I get to throw that clip in.
Shockma. Yeah, we had a very nice review on the Apple app, podcast app. Someone was very excited about our Shockma.
Shockma has accessed a iPhone, tablet,
something.
MacBook Pro, something we're not sure.
He might have the garbage can thing. I did watch the trailer for Shockma.
Yeah, I mean the guy who's doing that like narration is incredible. Like that guy is giving his all.
It was brutal, to be honest.
As far as what his excitement?
Oh no, the trailer in general. The movie looks brutal.
Yeah, it's absolutely brutal.
But the cool thing is that the chick from Nightmare on Elm Street is in it. That's kind of cool. I was like, oh man, she's famous. I know her. And it turns out she's not really that famous. She was just in one definitive horror movie.
Right. And then probably a bunch of other like fringe, like Shockma.
Yeah, I'm sure she did a bunch of things. But But that's what I know her from, and it was probably like burned in my memory as a preteen watching people being hacked apart. Anyways.
Anywho, let's talk about this opening scene. I'll tell you what, Will. I love this opening scene because the premise for this episode is so simple that they could really do whatever the fuck they wanted. And what they wanted to do was introduce us to a world where Charlie and Frank are in the sewer.
Why?
Why? There's stuff down there.
Yeah, I mean, man, don't
You
knock the
find
sewer
all
until you
kinds of
try the
shit down
sewer.
there.
My literal note was that I would be into a Charlie and Frank spinoff called The Sewer Boys.
Yeah, really nice because, the title is Dee Gives Birth. Like, we know she's having a baby. You don't have to do anything beyond that.
Yeah, it was a blank slate.
Blank slate. The writers could just do whatever they wanted. And
what they wanted to do
yeah,
was show the two of them, or not show, but explain how the two of them were clamming.
You feel it with your feet. It's almost like clamming.
You mash it.
it feels like clamming, I think is what Frank says, which is...
Clamming, basically. Yeah, I know they weren't looking for sewer clams, but they were looking for rings and stuff.
Oh, I just meant the line that Frank says, feels like clamming, was really weird.
I mean, I have no clue. I just assumed that was somehow true. Is that how you find clams? You like walk around in
I don't know.
in
Maybe.
like certain
That
rivers?
would make sense. That would make sense because you can definitely feel them.
Yeah, you're like digging around with your toes until you come up with some clams and you go grab them.
We get everything about it's great. The fact that the gang is so hung up on it, as anyone would be. The revelation that they take off their clothes.
But how are you so clean? Take our clothes off so we don't get dirty.
You guys.
Okay, hang on a second, D. We're getting into something.
Which, again, Dee later in the series learns that is the best move.
Dee uses it, right? She does it.
Yeah, she uses that technique.
Yeah, because it's just like her face and hair are just covered in poop.
Yeah, you bet your ass I made it. Charlie, my clothes are dry.
You held them over
Took
your
them
head?
all off, held
I
them
told
over
you
my
that
head.
water
No
well was
problem.
coming.
Yeah.
Excuse me, miss, but your stench is unbearable.
It's bad, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
that's shit in my hair. That's why.
The trick is you got to take your clothes off and hold it above your head and just let the wave wash over you.
Searching for rings and coins. I don't know. That just puts it makes me think of like a Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario Brothers. It gives me like a
Interesting
2D video game image in my mind, and I'm just imagining playing. It's a 2-player split screen game. One plays as Charlie, one plays as Frank.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's not a spin-off TV show. Maybe it's a video game spin-off. Sewer Boys.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you could probably find some guys on Fiverr to make like an 8-bit style game for like
right. And instead of the coins, in Super Mario, you bash them out of the bricks ahead above you.
Yeah.
You have to feel them with your feet
Yeah, it's like clamming.
below you.
Yeah. There's some great classic Always Sunny ignoring D.
But you guys,
Oh, D, will you just knock it off?
go
I
in
want to
the
know why
sewer.
these two are rooting around in the sewer.
my water just broke.
Drink what?
Yeah, that part I'm not into it. I understand it's a bit, but it's kind of whatever.
Well, I thought it was funny because it reminded me of when she initially brings up the pregnancy thing to them.
Right.
It's the same. I think it's like a bookend, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get it cognitively. I
You just
understand
don't
what
like
they're
it.
doing.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so obvious, kind of. And, you cut to Dee and she's like, uh-oh. And then Dennis specifically seems to be shushing her the whole time. And the part that I do appreciate is that Dennis is rightfully distracted by the sewer story. I do like the fact that they later on when they're at the hospital, they're like, we need to get back into the sewer thing. That's a conversation we need to finish.
A totally human reaction. In this episode, we have the alliance of the Reynolds twins, Dee and Dennis.
Yep.
Very powerful alliance in this episode.
Yeah, Dennis is being very protective.
Get in your room.
And we have a bit of a frantic alliance between Charlie, Mac, and Frank.
Yeah, Frank's in and out a little bit.
Frank's in and out, gets a little high. Charlie and Mac have just like a revelation.
Mm-hmm.
Their opinion on this baby really flips around.
Dude, we're gonna be the dad.
Yeah, they
More than
go
once.
through. Yeah, they go through like a full, as they describe, 180.
And then they 180 from that.
Yeah, if we knew you were doing the stupid surrogate thing again, we would have just completely ignored your pregnancy.
You did ignore my pregnancy.
Let me start with this. Dee's misbehavior in the hospital.
Oh, I love it. Dee is really, I don't know, she does this every episode, but like she's the best actor on this show. When after Dennis leaves to like get an attendant or a nurse to deal with her stories, when she gets up and goes back to the TV and says,
I'll figure you out, you son of a bitch.
And it's just amazing that she's standing on a rolling chair. Like, that's just such a funny image of seeing
There's
a
some
pregnant woman.
pregnant woman, yeah. She's actually on her tippy toes as well.
Right.
Like,
It's so good.
before we see the chair, there's some Foley in there of like a squeak. It sounds like the chair is like turning. And I mean, I feel like everyone's been in that position where you're like, well, I just have to reach up here. And like, yeah, you're in like a rolling office chair that's like twisting and rolling. And you're like, no, I can do it.
Yeah, I have a rolling chair in here, and occasionally I have to get up there. And I know it's not the safest thing to do, but
you're not pregnant.
I'm not pregnant, and what you just described is true. Like, I just tell myself, like, nothing's going to happen. Like, this is fine. I'm just going to go up and pop back down real quick. 2 seconds.
Exactly.
Which is what was going through her mind.
Yeah, she just needed to get the TV back on.
What are you doing? Get down!
No, I'm trying to make the TV go.
You are standing on top of a rolling chair. You're gonna go flying through that window, for God's sakes. Will you get down?
Also, Dee slips out, which is another great little gag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And comes back prominently featuring a Subway cup and I believe a sandwich, right?
In a little bag. Yeah. And I finally noticed product placement.
How she was holding the cup, like the logo was just perfect.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is what Nate always talks about. Product placement. They must have been paid. Are you proud of me?
You're growing and evolving before my eyes.
Okay, quick admission. I just want to admit that I think the reason why I noticed it, other than the fact that it's predominantly and obvious and whatever and blah, 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 is that I was like, why would she not get a Wawa hoagie? Like, why would you go to Subway for a sandwich?
Yeah. My observation about this Subway ad is that Subway the person is also in this episode, which I found to be just a delightful coincidence.
Ben the Soldier is Subway.
Right. We're referencing an episode of Community. In case anyone does not know, he plays the corpo-human entity known as Subway.
Your name is Subway.
Yep. Using a groundbreaking but surprisingly legal process known as corpohumanization, real people such as myself are now allowed to represent the collective humanity of business owners. I have contractually waived my birth identity and am now a man and student named Subway.
Yeah, so that brings me to another point, which this is all wrapped up. Is there some sort of weird connection between Community and Always Sunny?
Other than the fact that both of us love those shows, I don't think so. Maybe is there some writer overlap? I don't know.
It's just so funny. Who knows? This could be like 6 years apart for all I know, because Sunny was on for like 17 years and Community was 5 or whatever.
I believe Community would have been starting just a little bit after this season.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
interesting.
This aired in December of 2010, and I think Community may have come on the air in 2011 or 2012.
Interesting. Because maybe they were inspired by the Subway drop and the Subway humanoid. Also, the next episode in this season, which I found out that there's a 13th episode, it's the Christmas special.
Oh, okay. That aired for season 6.
Yeah.
It seems older than season 6 for some reason to me.
Well, right. But here's the thing. It's a claymation episode.
Oh, right.
A claymation Christmas episode.
Yeah.
Does that remind you of anything?
Yeah. That's a very, very good point. Interesting.
Weird.
Very weird.
Like, is it common for TV shows to have claymation Christmas episodes?
Well, that
or is
would
it
make
just 2?
Right. That would make me think that there isn't any writer overlap, because that would be weird, because then it would just be like, hey, you know what we did on my last show? We just did a claymation Christmas thing.
Is that less weird than this other popular comedy did this bit. Let's do what they did without having anyone on the team.
Community started in 2009. So the same year of Always Sunny season 5.
Right. So they're going together.
So the claymation Christmas episodes happened very close to each other.
Right.
Likely within the year.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
This is okay. We need to dive deep on this one. We need to figure out when they aired.
Fascinating.
And
wow,
we need
that's crazy.
compare notes on who was on what, any writer overlap. Did they use the same claymation studio?
I feel like the Community one looks a little better, just going off of my head movies.
Your mind ghosts are replaying films.
The Sunny one seemed a little more crude. And I mean, I know like it is literally more crude, but
They'll rip your arm off at the bone, eat it like an ice cream cone, and gouge your eyes out.
That'd be funny if we found out that this Always Sunny one was just done by them. The guys were just like, yeah, we didn't have a budget, so we just started taking pictures.
Huh. Well, that is quite a revelation.
Bombshell.
For the Community It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fan overlap. I think we should probably also talk about Dennis's extreme. The word that I wrote down was thespianism. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah, I believe you're referring to how he's firing on all cylinders.
He is.
With the nurse specifically, I'm assuming that monologue.
Cleo King as the nurse, incredible performance also.
I would say MVP for the episode.
Absolutely. These two going head to head is like, it's like the Super Bowl.
The thunder of my vengeance will echo through these corridors like the gust of 1,000 winds.
You know what? I don't have time for this.
Right. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think Dennis is all talk.
Oh, of course he is. And the nurse is probably not, based on some of the things that she mumbled as she was walking away.
Right. Her actions, they say actions speak louder than words. I feel like in this situation, Dennis has a lot of words.
Mm-hmm.
But this woman, her actions, while she doesn't hit him or beat him, as she says she might, she does walk away in a way that makes me think her other option was beating him.
Exactly. So
and that's not what she wanted.
Real quick, the nurse is named Wendy, Nurse Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down my best approximation of the mumbled lines.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, after the Hammer of Thor speech.
Gust of 1,000 winds.
She says,
I ain't going to jail over you. I will beat your ass and think nothing of it. I'm not doing this with you today. I'm not.
The second interaction after Dee is passed off to the doctor.
Oh, yeah, after the Weekend at Bernie's bit.
Right, which we can talk about. Not mumbled is...
You ain't going nowhere. You get your narrow ass back in that waiting room before I knock you in there. You have done enough today.
So the mumbled one, I actually don't know exactly what she's saying. And I was hoping that maybe you had a clue. There's
what is your approximation?
Okay, crazy-ass white boy, clear as day.
Right.
The next line, or the next few words, I'm not sure. And then talking about Thor, I bet I earned this, I got you. So the line that I'm not sure about, it sounds like she says, crazy-ass white boy steadily dressing up folk and talking about Thor, I bet I earned this, I got you.
I don't think it's steadily dressing up folk.
No, I don't think it is either. But that's like the best thing I could get.
Yeah,
I'm going to pop it in here, and then if anyone has any clue, write in.
Yeah, please let us know.
Crazy ass white boy steadily dressing up folk and talking about Thor. I bet I earned this. I got you.
Twitter, Instagram. Let us know, because I honestly have no idea. Steadily dressing up folk, the Weekend at Bernie's thing, but they didn't dress him up. They just put sunglasses on him. And steadily doesn't make any sense in this case.
Right. Actually, I didn't even think about the Weekend at Bernie's, like sunglasses dressing him up, maybe.
Yeah.
But okay. Yeah, she is the MVP. She's great. She's the perfect counterpoint to Dennis.
Cleo King has been in a bunch of stuff. She's very recognizable. She's been in a gajillion television shows. She was in a show that you like called Shameless.
Oh yeah, love it.
She was on Lost. She was on Deadwood. And she was in a film that I actually just rewatched a few weeks ago, Magnolia. She's great. You saying that she's the MVP is such a high honor coming from this episode, which is essentially a greatest hits album.
I mean, right. You have, although, yes, you have everyone. You have Lil Kev, you have the Korean busboy, you have obviously the cast with Dee just killing it, and Pondy, and I don't know who else, Cricket. But yeah, she's just so good. Doesn't matter. She's just so good. Quick question.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on vasectomies?
Did you have a vasectomy or not?
No. Well, that's what I would tell the lady, so I didn't have to wear a condom.
Vasectomies, it seems like if you're in the stage of your life where you definitely don't want kids and you're, happily married or in a serious committed relationship, it's basically like, it should be like mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're very useful, and men don't have to put up with a lot of the same things that women do in regards to that kind of stuff. Like,
right.
We don't have to take birth control.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a monthly menstruation. There's a lot of things that women put up with that men don't, and I think that is like the smallest step you can take towards like acknowledging that.
Yeah. I think it's come up a lot, and I read recently that there was like somebody did develop male birth control.
Right, yeah.
But there were like minor side effects and everyone freaked out. Like this in the same way, like it was changing your hormones and blah blah blah. But I'm actually thinking like because again, it's come up a lot. It's like apparently it's very reversible.
It is reversible. I don't know about very reversible. I actually just read that like it's not as simple as people think it is to reverse it. Again,
okay.
I don't know anything about this. I
didn't do a ton. I didn't do a ton of research. I did spend a significant amount of time, and this is repeated viewings. I watched The Office.
Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. I did. Okay. You've no idea the physical toll the 3 vasectomies have on a person.
Everyone, yeah. I mean, that's
I'm not saying it doesn't take its toll on a person. Snip,
right.
Snip, snip.
That's probably the vasectomy's largest national stage in recent
in pop
history.
culture. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, but all jokes aside, I don't think I'm ready to have kids right now. I'm not even ready to have a dog right now.
Mm-hmm.
I probably couldn't have a plant right now. And I don't know if I ever will be. So I think like, man, maybe I should just get a vasectomy. In 5 years, will I change my mind? I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's a scary thought. Like you're saying, nothing is 100% safe.
Right. Yeah, you're not guaranteed to reverse it, but I think that is a fairly common thing.
Yeah, it seems like it's an option. But anyway, I don't know. I think vasectomies should be more common as far as like in the conversation.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see that. I don't know if you've seen that thread. I recently retweeted it yet again. It's like a woman, and she's just like talking about the responsibility of like unwanted pregnancy. It's like
yeah. Like, it's like one of the few things that men can have control over. I mean, of course, like birth control is number one, but it's like it's something you can do to take some of that responsibility off the other person.
Quick comment, Pondy, his take on the vasectomy thing is awful and terrible, and I'm glad that the gang acknowledges that.
Oh, man. That is incredibly shady.
Another important aspect of this show, this episode that I would like to bring up, in my opinion, holds a lot of weight in the series. Really, like, speaks some truth. It really allows us to see the show's writers and creators as the kind of real people that they are. And that is the jean shorts discussion.
Man, I used to have some jean shorts like that too. You slept in them shits, man.
Yeah. Now that's Z, correct?
That's Z. Yeah.
Z talking to Ben the Soldier, because it's been humorously established that Frank got Ben the Soldier a pair of denim shorts upon his return.
And denim shorts, I think by nature are like terminally out of fashion.
Right,
But the ones that he wears, they really look like something that I wore in like 1991. Like they seem like particularly nasty in style wise, and that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
It's a very strange intersection of not big enough to be big, not small enough to be small, but not correctly fitting enough to fly under the radar.
They just look hilarious.
They're just comical. It's just a weird, funny thing.
Such a brilliant, just little.
That's really what Always Sunny is, right? It's just a lot of those things.
That's what I'm saying.
And so when Z comes up to Ben the Soldier and just gives him this honest, heartfelt talk where he just explains how he appreciates those shorts, but he says you gotta
take them off every now and then. You gotta take them off, son.
Gotta take them off. Because if you wear them too much, which it does kind of seem like Ben the Soldier is wearing them too much, but we don't see him every day. Maybe it's just like luck of the draw that every time we see him, he's wearing jean shorts now.
It seems like the implication
yes,
is that he's going to blow the crotch out of him.
Any day now.
Well, he might. Oh, obviously, we know he doesn't sleep in them, so he's got that going.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point.
And at that point, he might be effectively doubling their lifespan.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Great movie. Great bit. I love it.
I haven't seen that movie in a long enough amount of time that I don't really remember anything about it, other than like the major plot points.
Yeah, I mean it's two
Plot
very
point.
it's two very common 80s like actors in that realm. I think they work for like a financy company. And they're trying to work their way up, and there's like a big party at their boss's house on the beach.
How would you two like to come to my house at the beach?
Love to!
And yeah, they somehow either like fake their way in or try to sneak in or whatever. And they end up kind of becoming entwined in this sketchiness. Their boss, Bernie, gets killed. I don't know if he's shot or poisoned. He must be poisoned.
He must be poisoned if he was shot.
Yeah, anyway, he gets killed by like the mob or some deal gone wrong. But the guys are at the house and they're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And they, for some reason, I guess I don't know if they're trying to do like a good thing, but somehow they think they're going to be killed. So it's like the way they sort of protect themselves is by pretending that Bernie's still alive, and they like throw parties and like.
Lomax told whoever he's talking to not to kill us if he's around, right?
Yeah, but Lomax is dead. He's not around anybody anymore.
I know that. You know that. Nobody else knows that. Ah! Where's Bernie?
Right.
And they do all the goofy things like tie a string to his arm so when someone walks by on the beach and says, hey, Bernie, he can wave. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah.
Hey there, Mr. Craig.
Okay, the waving thing's awesome. That's good.
Most importantly for me is the last scene in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Truly incredible. It's like Sonny is branching out a little bit.
I mean, slow-mo?
Slow-mo? Exactly.
Duncan has the perfect song.
A beautiful Kate Bush song, which I don't think is the actual Kate Bush version. Maybe that was too expensive.
Right.
This woman's work, amazing. I mean, like, you feel it. It's a weirdly emotional moment.
Yeah, I like all of the faces that they pan through, except for some reason, and it might be that I assume this is all happening while Dee is actually pregnant. Oh, that's confirmed when they show their child on the screen. But for some reason, Mac's face makes me kind of like,
Yeah, I mean, they were obviously acknowledging like the real baby.
Yeah, like everyone else is acting, and he's like half acting, half like pretending to not act, and I was just like, eh.
Cricket is smoking what I believe is crack out of a tinfoil pipe.
I think that's what we're led to believe.
Did you want to talk about what Ben the Soldier is doing in this?
Yes, as I may have referenced earlier, he seems to be crossing his fingers, which I think Bill Ponderosa is also doing, but Bill has made his intent clear that he does not want this child.
Insert clip.
This kid is mine. I'm gonna blow my brains out.
So, but Ben the Soldier, I was curious when it first pans across him, and I was curious if he wants the baby or doesn't want the baby. But later on, I think they go back to him and he's crying after we find out that it's a surrogate situation. And I think he wanted the baby.
Interesting. Well, he definitely wants more coke, as we see him and Bill Ponderosa on the last two on the way out.
Right.
We can get more.
We can get some more.
We'll get more.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. But of all of those people, he would be the one to feel that way.
Right?
So I think it's fair.
If you go back to his interview, it's, he's being manipulated for it, but it's like, why would, there's a chance that he genuinely likes Dee, and he doesn't want to just to have sex with her.
Right.
He wants more.
It could be. It's hard to say, but I think, we've talked about Ben a lot in this episode, and I think we have made it very clear that he does seem to be like a genuinely nice, good-hearted character. So,
right. I mean,
all of this tracks.
It's very much on brand that he would like to settle down, marry Dee, have children with her. That, to me, makes perfect sense.
I agree.
And that is the relationship that I personally would like to see.
Will Noon, do you have a letter grade for Dee Gives Birth?
A+. I'm just going to go for it. You've got Dee acting irresponsible. You've got Dennis losing his cool. You've got a Weekend at Bernie's bit. You've got all the classic characters from her past, like a greatest hits kind of thing. Just hard to go. And we've got the sewer, the introduction of the sewer concept, top to bottom. Just a great episode.
I agree. This is also an A+ for me.
Maybe you could put in the...
It's really the last scene that like pushes it over the edge for me. It's just like you just see them like stretching their legs.
Right,
and
doing something a little different.
They can make something genuinely emotional out of an insane situation where there's a guy smoking crack in slow motion.
Allow me to take a little bit of a journey here. Do you think that it's just because they had certain music playing and things were going in slow motion? Could you have taken any video clips and created that same emotion? Or elicited that same emotion from someone?
That is a huge part of it, of course. Slow-mo.
Because
like that is a beautiful song.
I would like to, my Exhibit A, I would like to present to the court the part, or the bit in Community where Annie is saying that her and Jeff had a thing, a will they, won't they, and then they go through all the different characters.
Yeah.
It's such a good bit, but that's basically what you're talking about. You're saying that you were emotionally...
And the music is weirdly similar. It's not, that's not Kate Bush, but like it is...
It's the same concept. I think they're both...
The voices are kind of the same.
Something always brings me back to you.
I think they're both shows are making fun of or pointing out the fact that you can create that environment with just slow-mo and certain music.
Yeah. And I mean, as a fan of the show, like there's also some emotional weight to Rob and Caitlin actually having a kid. Like, like that's also thrown in there, which is not related to what's happening in that scene necessarily, but like
as your resident sociopath, that takes it down a notch for me.
I see. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I'm just,
I understand that for most people,
this is my grade, bro.
For most people, I understand that would be impactful.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does it for this episode. I guess we apologize for the length of this episode. Maybe apologize isn't the right word. We just had a little limited time. We didn't cover every beat.
I think that works.
Oh, I agree.
That works.
I'm basing this off of I'm talking to the person that wrote the negative review on.
Oh my God, we need to get rid of him from our minds. We just need to find those people that haven't left a review, you know? That's who we need to connect with. We know they're out there. They just are too lazy to leave us a review and give us some positive feedback.
We are on Instagram @always_Stockholm, on Twitter @alwaysstockholm. We might be back.
See you later.
Brought to you by the Mighty New Network.